Hello, everybody. Welcome to Reserve Seating. We are in the home stretch of the holiday season, so of course, we couldn't leave 2024 without another Good Genes. So we did
Crazy?
what? Yeah, it
We're
would
not
be crazy
crazy.
to do that.
We're not
And we're not crazy.
amateurs. We're not buffoons.
We are talking about three movies that Gene Siskel enjoyed that played during the holiday seasons of their respective years. It doesn't mean so if you're thinking about putting it in the comments, it doesn't mean it opened in the holiday season. It could be like a movie like we're going to talk about in a few minutes where it opened in July, but it just played and played and played and was in the second run in December, or it had word of mouth and it opened in October and it was playing in the holiday season, or it opened during the holiday season. There's a variety. It's a real trail mix bag of movie goodness.
Everybody get that? There's going to be a test.
There will be a test. We are going to start by
With our
first
guest.
introducing our special
Here
guest,
we go. Yeah.
Mr. Patrick Bromley. How you doing, buddy?
Hi guys, thanks for having me back for Good Genes.
You
Good
guys do
dude.
you guys know Patrick? Patrick's he's new to the site.
I hope everyone likes me.
He's usually hiding in Patreon.
All
I
right.
don't know what we're gonna do next year because we did Mean Jeans and we did Good Jeans, and now do I do like Mean
Green,
Rogers or
Well,
something?
green jeans.
Roger stands out to me, which would be like thumbs up from Roger Ebert.
Yeah.
Green Jeans are movies directed by David Gordon Green, reviewed by Gene Siskel.
There you
There
go.
aren't any.
Mm-mm. Womp womp.
Listen, died.
Um, yeah, I don't know. That would be a perfect segue to our second movie, but we're gonna go back first
We'll cut
to
all this out, so it's
our
fine. Don't worry.
don't edit a thing. Not even a fucking second. I'm gonna watch it this time and I'm gonna check. So our first movie is 1988's Mystic Pizza, directed by Daniel Petri, Donald,
Daniel.
by
I'm a
Daniel,
Daniel Petri.
by
Daniel.
Daniel Petri, Donald Petri, who later went on to direct another pizza place classic, Little Italy. One of the 10 best movies of the year it came
Oh,
out, according to me. First, we'll
all right.
read Gene's review. This certainly gets the award for the most intriguing title of the year. It's the story of three girls who work as waitresses in a pizza parlor in the working class town of Mystic, Connecticut. The setting is perfect for exploring the varied romantic problems they have, and one problem is better than the next. This is a rare film about young people that plays real, quote unquote real, and yet has entertainment value of an old-fashioned Hollywood movie. The key is in the bright script. 3 stars. This was my first time seeing it. Do you guys have a history with Mystic Pizza?
This was
I
also
do.
my first time seeing it.
All
Patrick.
right, Patrick, what do you think of Mystic Pizza?
I rented this as soon as it came out with like my childhood best friend. That's how cool I was as an 11-year-old. I was like, we gotta rent Mystic Pizza, bro. And we sat and watched it, and I crushed on Annabeth Gish, and
Mhm.
I've really had a soft spot for this movie ever since. The screenplay that Gene points out is by Amy Holden Jones, director of
Ooh,
Slumber Party Massacre.
nice.
Yeah.
It sounded familiar. I was going to that. Was this your gateway gish, Patrick?
This was because this was pre-Shag.
Okay. Mine was Hiding Out. I don't know why, but I think I've seen Hiding Out more times than John Cryer's seen Hiding Out. Rob, what did you think of Mystic Pizza?
Oh, I thought this was a delightful watch, a
Mhm.
delightful watch. I pushed up against, and this is just probably because I don't have, and this is something that I think she would come to in Pretty Woman, because I know Roberts as more of a Julia Roberts. I'm sorry, Julia. Um,
Emma.
for different stuff from the later '90s into her 2000s career, I brushed up against her as the sort of like streetwise sister at first, but then obviously this is a different time in her career, and I kind of had to look at it through that lens. But eventually ended up really liking that performance.
I'm glad you pointed out the Julia Roberts performance because I feel like I take her for granted just
Yes.
because she's always been around pretty much since I started paying attention to movies. But going back and watching her in this, it made me really appreciate like right out of the gate, like how what a big personality she was in a good way. Like just immediately kind of a movie star. Um, I mean, what Annabeth Gish is doing is a little bit more low key. So like she kind of Julia Roberts gets the opportunity to kind of pop it. It's a bigger character and everything like that. But no, I was happy in the company of any of the three women. We should also mention Lily Taylor is
Miller.
the other woman in the group of friends. And yeah, her and D'Onofrio stuff is great. It's probably my favorite of the three subplots. I do like the Julia Roberts one quite a bit. I think that the Annabeth Gish one is maybe given the shortest shrift of the three, or
Yeah.
maybe I just don't like the guy because he's just sort of like Dollar Tree Eric Stoltz. But no, I like movies like this where it's, gives you a real sense of place. It's obviously somebody's very like maybe it's Amy Holden Jones, like kind of like a specific, you know, semi-biographical story of her upbringing. I don't know for sure, but it seems like lived in a way that is impressive. It's sort of a cut above the usual slice, if you will.
Oh, you're just on fire.
Yeah,
I've always loved this movie, but watching it this time, I was really struck by there's these single moments that pay off each of the storylines.
Mhm.
Um, for Julia Roberts, it's her mom. They're like so honest and sort of vulnerable, to
Yeah,
use a word that's overused. Julia Roberts is when her mom just says like, "I just worry about you so much," and I'm like, characters never say that in movies. uh for well, I guess it's not the Lily Taylor story, but Conchata Ferrell says at the end of the movie like, "You three, you're my kids," and it pays off the relationship at the workplace, and it's so nice. And for Annabeth Gish, I agree that I don't like the guy that she's with, which I guess is maybe kind of the point, but like
sure.
she gets that moment that won her over for me for life, where she's crying and she just says, "It just hurts so much," and I'm like, you rarely get a character just outright say it in a way that like cuts straight to the bone, and I just think it's so effective.
I want to ask you guys both as critics, this must have been like such a breath of fresh air to break up like screeners and like kind of, I don't know, it just feels like just exactly the right movie to watch at this time of year. But also, if this movie came out in 2024, you know that people would be like jockeying what its Oscar chances are. It's good. It's really, really good.
I
All
like
right. Ghost, 1990s smash summer hit, sleeper hit. Um, so Gene, this was his flick of the week. So he said, Ghost is a curiously appealing amalgam. Hold on. Oh, I got that right. Okay, amalgam of thriller, comedy, romance, and supernatural elements. Patrick Swayze stars as a Manhattan financial executive who is murdered, but whose spirit remains in earthly purgatory as he tries to reopen communication with the love of his life, an artist played by Demi Moore. The ghostly Swayze character quickly discovers that Moore's life is in jeopardy too, and he tries to warn her. But he must find a vehicle to transmit his words and thoughts, and Whoopi Goldberg, as a wacky professional mind reader, fills that function, much to Moore's disbelief. The film is very strong at setting up the romance between Swayze and Moore. Goldberg is initially off-putting with her far too broad acting style. The passion and poignancy of trying to communicate with the dead is well exploited here. Moore has never been more fetching. Ghost gets 3 stars from Gene.
Let me ask you guys this.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a sexier romantic fantasy about bank fraud?
I need to just say good job to Bruce Joel Rubin, who also wrote Jacob's Ladder, because this is like pure id spilled on a page. Like only a dude with a specific vision
Yeah.
could put something like this together. And he won an Oscar for the screenplay, but I just think that it's so interesting and like I don't think it should work nearly as well as it does. I was happy that it held up as much as it did for me on this viewing.
Why does this work? Because I agree this shouldn't.
Mhm. I think just because I want to get your guys' take, but I think the bottom line is it's just a really affecting romance and it grounds everything and it lets you forgive a lot of stuff.
This was the first viewing where I had to forgive a lot of stuff,
Hmm.
because I went to see this movie in 1990 begrudgingly with a group of friends. I was 12 or 13. I was kind of dragged to it. I thought it looked so dumb and boring. I fell in love with it so hard it became my favorite movie for a while. I saw it 7 times in theaters. I was obsessed with Ghost. It's been years since I've seen it. It's a movie I know by heart. I had a real kind of Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves experience with it, where this was the first time I was seeing it through Roger Ebert's eyes because he was like, why all this dumb thriller stuff? And I was kind of like, why all this dumb thriller stuff? I think the performances are so good.
Hmm.
I think the romance is so effective. I think, I mean, it nails the last scene so hard that like I can forgive all the other stuff, but this was the viewing where I was like, oh, this movie's way messier than it needs to be.
I mean, the Swayze performance in this is just so genuine, and it's such a
Hmm.
wonderful. I mean, I don't. You could argue that he's given better performances, but for me, this so firmly encapsulates what makes him a movie star
Mhm.
Yeah.
that, like, it's you, as you said, it you forgive almost everything else.
Now he was a really special actor. I mean, like because it's nobody could have played this part better at that time, I think. And like he is such an interesting mixture of like he's got the macho aspect that can carry an action movie, but like he's like the heartthrob, the sexiest man alive type that like guys don't hate at all. It's like something, and he's just sort of like a good dancer, and there's something about him that's just like really, really special. I don't have a problem with the thriller stuff. I have a problem with the comedy more of the stew of all the ingredients. Like I love the romance stuff. I love the thriller stuff. Um, I think Tony Goldwyn is kind of an interesting bad guy, although I just because he's so inept at what he's doing. I do think that as a person who's, in the business world, the lack of password protection was driving me crazy. I kind of almost want this movie if it was going to have like a meta approach where the whole story plays out. Patrick Swayze goes off into the white light and everything like that. Or it's not white light, it's like the Aurora Borealis lights, basically.
Borealis.
And then I want it to be like they cut to two guys in 2024 who work at this investment firm, and he's like, and that was the story of Sam Wheat. And they're just like, what the fuck? It's like a campfire story about password protection, and then they like zoom out, and it's like marbles and aliens are playing with them, like at the end of Men in Black. Like, I want all of that.
I think there should have been a scene in Conclave where like Stanley Tucci is walking past like this beautiful mural, and it's a beautiful mural of Whoopi Goldberg that those nuns painted in honor of the woman who donated all that money to the church.
So, Patrick, I have a question for you because you had mentioned that you liked the final scene, and I really like the final scene too.
Mhm.
But I have a vague memory when you did the podcast on ghosts a long time ago that you had a criticism that I had this time that they nailed the scene, but the last line was pretty shitty.
See ya.
Yeah, it's like what he's saying. So they say like I love you, I always have loved you, ditto, it's perfect. They probably needed a little bit more dialogue, so they couldn't just leave it at that. But then I looked at like IMDb because I don't want to misquote it, but it's like ridiculous. It's like it's amazing, Molly, the love inside, you take it with you, see ya. And then she says, see ya, bye. I don't know.
Like
It's just
Swayze can sell that, you know what I mean? And
Right.
that's the difference. Like there's movies I've liked Swayze in more than this, but this again is like his this is what is good about him.
Bruce Willis turned it down and then kicked himself for turning it down. And I think a
yeah.
1990 Bruce Willis would have been kind of smirky and above it. But
Yeah.
is this why he makes The Sixth Sense 9 years later? Maybe.
All right, so our last movie is Mouse Hunt from 1997. Gene said, a cute slapstick children's adventure about a couple of bumbling brothers, Nathan Lane and Lee Evans, who inherit a valuable but decaying old mansion that is occupied by a clever mouse. Before the brothers can put the house up for auction, they must catch the critter, and that's the story. It's like an indoor version of Caddyshack and almost as much fun. 3 stars. I don't understand
I
that at
don't know what
all.
that means.
This was late in Gene's career, and
Yeah.
maybe he was already showing signs of sickness.
I didn't hate this.
So
Hate is too
had you
strong a word.
seen
Yeah.
Mouse Hunt before?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Did
was a
you like
child at
grow
this
up on
time.
it?
I wouldn't say I grew up on it. It's not a movie I watched a lot, but it was definitely out when I was little. I was age appropriate for it. I probably saw it in the theater. I've definitely seen it on cable because as I was watching it, the lines were kicking back into me.
Mm.
Like this might have been my first Nathan Lane movie, honestly. Um, no, I didn't hate this. I think I immediately when I was googling and looking around, immediately somebody dropped like Laurel and Hardy. I'm like, yeah, it's a two-hander kind of slapsticky comedy kind of thing. It's overwritten and it's structured in a way where it's real sweaty. They try too hard for certain bits in that way that a lot of these movies do. I don't know. I didn't hate this.
Yeah, I didn't hate it either. This was my first time seeing it because like it came out during a holiday season that had like Titanic, Tomorrow Never Dies, Scream
Right.
2, Jackie Brown. Like there was a lot
Blubber.
of Mouse Hunt is a very good movie doing a thing that I just don't like seeing in movies, which is basically broad slapstick
Yeah.
and sort of overdone on purpose art direction, like Lemony Snickety type of stuff. It's just not my thing. Nathan Lane and Lee Evans aren't my guys.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's super well made. If anything, for me, it's like, wow, you know, there's so much promise even at the start from Gore
Or
Verbinski.
Verbinski, it feels like a very directed movie, like
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, like he directed it better than it had any right to be directed. And I wish I liked it more. I mean, like I maybe built it up in my head over, 27 years that because I it had like sort of a cult following. It was popular.
This was my first viewing, and I was like, well, I'm an Adam Rifkin guy, and he wrote it, and I'm a Gore Verbinski guy, and so I sat down to watch it, and it's a lot of just like the actors going, what?
Mhm.
And like the joke is that like, I don't know, water comes out of the walls, and I
Mhm.
guess we laugh. My favorite stuff was the Gore Verbinski weirdness, which by the way, it turns out I'm not really a Gore Verbinski guy. I just like the Pirates movies.
Yeah.
Because when I think about the other movies he made, I'm like, eh. Um,
Dude, the Weatherman though. You like the
oh, I love the
Weatherman.
Weatherman. Yeah, I forgot about the Weatherman. I'm sorry. I was thinking more like the Mexican and A Cure for
Yeah,
Wellness and The Ring and stuff I'm
sure.
not as into. Um, when he leans into like this Terry Gilliam weirdness, like when they go to get the cat, and it's Ernie Sabella in like a hazmat suit, and
Mhm.
you don't know what's going on, and it's this giant factory of like an animal rescue, and he has to be decontaminated. I was like, I don't know what's going on, but there's something inspired happening here, and that was the stuff that I liked best in the movie. And I like slapstick, but the slapstick didn't land for me.
It's a movie that wants to do five, six, seven different things, and it's like equipped to do like two of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not really equipped to do all the things it wants to do. But as a first feature, as a calling card movie, I mean, even the way he lays out the scene where the mouse is running away from the staple gun or the nail gun
Mhm.
as it's going through the baseboards and stuff like that, like the way he kind of frames that and kind of makes it look, it's like you saw the talent there, and I enjoyed that as far as it went.
I perked up anytime Maury Chaykin showed up. Like I thought he was really fun in the movie. I liked his character a lot. The um thing, and maybe I missed this because I've been watching a lot of movies just like you two, like in the past month or so, and things kind of blur together. But um, did they do something? Did the two brothers do something like really bad that makes it so this is like sweet revenge on them from the mouse or something?
No,
Because I had problems with that, not like big problems, but I had problems with that where it's like they maybe needed to be a little bit meaner at the outset because it seems like they're just sort of these put upon guys that don't deserve this.
Roger Ebert's review talks about that phenomenon a lot, where he's like, this movie's not funny because I don't know who to root for.
right.
Okay. So this was fun. Thank you both for closing out another year of Gene reviews. We'll have to figure out what we're going to pivot to next year.
Mhm.
But that's what we're all about. We're all about pivots. We love pivoting.
I love a good pivot.
Yeah.
Pivot's fun to say.
Nothing better than a good old Q4 pivot.
Is that like a
Are we
business
talking?
thing? Is that thing that they like business people say?
Are we
Yeah, they
talking Q4 Piven?
Ooh,
Q4 pivot.
that'll be
My
next
hearing is
next
going.
winter.
Yes,
Yeah. We are definitely gonna do Q4 pivot
we're
month
gonna pivot to Piven.
See, this is how it works, folks. This is the idea factory.
because we could talk about very bad things. We could talk about Judgment Night. We could talk about keeping up with the Steins.
3 words for you boys: PCU.
Oh
Yes.
my God, I forgot about that. I
See?
shouldn't have. All right, real quick, rank
Hmm.
these movies favorite to least favorite.
Mystic Pizza, Ghost, Mouse Hunt.
Ghost Mystic Pizza Mouse Hunt.
Ghost Mystic Pizza Mouse Hunt. We'll be back next week with a very special.
More bullshit. I don't know.
Next week's episode is going to be bullshit because Rob and I are not watching a movie, and instead we found this thing on Facebook from
You found.
ESPN. Well, I don't want to
You
make it.
did no. I will not take credit. You did the work on this, my friend.
All right, so thank you for throwing me under the bus. We are going to steal the movie draft idea from several other podcasts, but what we're doing is ESPN posted you have $15 to build a movie marathon of sports movies, of Disney sports movies, or I think they're all Disney sports movies. And Rob and I are going to draft a team, and we're going to decide who has the better team. And it
You're
just
gonna
saves
decide.
us some time so we don't have to watch movies. All right. So hopefully I'll be able to explain that better next week. So until next time.
See ya.
DC's a reserve.